Hey guys, Lee here from PreSonus. I'm the product manager for PreSonus in EMEA, and the guys at Gear for Music have invited me down today to take a look at the new StudioLive SE Series consoles. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the 3 new versions of the StudioLive Series 3 console mixer. So these mixers are a refresh and replacement for the previous versions. You may have seen the 32SC, SX and the 32S. So in the new lineup we have the SE16, SE24 and the SE32. All these mixers, all 3 of them, are 32 channel mixers. So although you may see with the SE16 that we have behind us here, you've got 16 faders, it still is a 32 channel mixer. So you've got the SE24 that I've got in front of me here and the SE32 with 32 faders. So some of the differences between the versions would be the fader count and also the I/O on the back. On the SE16 we'll have 16 mic preamps and also slightly less outputs, physical outputs, but you still have the 16 mixes outputs on the SE16. So that means that your full 16 outputs from the SE16 are accessible via Stagebox. So what's really nice with the SE24 is that you've got the full 32 mic preamps on the back of the desk. You've also got a physical 16 mix outputs on the back. You can access these directly on the mixer, or you can connect to our networked Stagebox to access any of these inputs or outputs. Okay, so what's new on the SE console mixers? First off, you'll notice they look really cool. So we've updated the look of the desk to make it look kind of more sleek with a flat screen print. What this gives you is a nice contrast for all of the labeling. So it's easy to read all of the labels on your buttons and your knobs and coders. Also, we've updated the faders. So we've got these really nice, comfortable, cool looking faders. So they look really cool in studio, and also really nice and comfortable for live mixing over long periods. Also a little glow in the dark strips on each fader, which is really handy for your dark corners in the club, so you can quickly see where your fader levels are. You'll also notice we've updated the encoders. So we've got these nice cylindrical large style encoder knobs that are really comfortable to use, easy to access and easy to see. Again, nice little blue ring on the top means you can quickly see where your encoder is on the desk when you go to grab it when you're in the throes of mixing. Also, what's new with the desk is the layout of the screen. We used to have a frame which kind of sunk the screen a little bit into the frame and created some shadows and stuff. So we felt like this flat mounted screen made the desk look slicker, but also cuts down on kind of weird shadows and stuff like that. So desk looks really beautiful in studio, but also really functional for live mixing in dark, low light environments. Something else new we've introduced to the SE console mixers is Milan-certified AVB. So the network protocol for the desk when you're connecting to stage boxes or personal in-ear mixers is AVB network. So you may be familiar with network audio such as Dante or AVB. So we use AVB protocol on these desks because it's quite simple to set up, very stable. It's point-to-point connection with your stage boxes or your personal ear mix. But also the routing is simplified. You don't need to use an external computer for routing AVB between your devices from the console. You can set it up from on the screen or directly from your UC Surface software. With the new version having Milan certification means that now opens up the desk to third-party companies who are also Milan certified. So there's lots of companies who make speakers or mixing desks that we can connect to over the AVB network, which is fully supported and tested. So the point-to-point contact will be very simple. The handshake over the network between these devices will be really easy and very, very stable. The stream persistence means that once you've got your network connection stream between Milan certified devices, the bandwidth doesn't change as the network gets busier. The bandwidth that's assigned to your desk stays stable and your connection is really, really stable. For our network products, you will need to have all of these products, such as, again, the Stagebox and the EarMix, updated to the latest firmware with Milan certification. So that can be quite tricky to connect lots of things up and update, but we have simplified that process with firmware batch update. So you'll see on the screen that if you connect all your network products directly to UC Surface in one go, if you're connected to the internet, UC will check all of these devices and make sure that it's on the latest firmware that has Milan certification. So simplifies the firmware update for Milan certification. So a really nice new feature of the SE console mixers are our vintage emulated plugins. So we have a whole range of vintage emulated plugins that you can use on the desk. inserted on each input channel, but also inserted on every output channel if you want. So previously the desk came with 3 different styles of EQ, 3 different styles of compressor, and you could buy some add-ons. For the SE new version, we've included all of these plugins. So you've got a full complement of really cool sounding vintage emulated plugins that will give you a total of 10 EQs and 11 compressors. So again, it's really important to note that these plugins are available to insert on every input channel. So you can really craft different flavors and different sounds with different kind of styles of compression, different styles of vintage emulated plugins, which are made by our Studio One team in Hamburg. So these plugins are all studio quality, really nice sounding plugins that will help you carve out different flavors of mixes. So the SE console mixer also comes with different flavors of reverbs, delays, chorus and flanger. And we've updated the Reverb XL plugin to have lots of extra professional parameters, such as pre-delay and diffusion, and also some really nice presets. So the quality of the presets sound really, really cool. You'll be able to bring up your Reverb XL and have a really cool sounding reverb ready to go. Some other nice little cool updates are a variable release time to our built-in limiter. So again, this is available on every input channel, plus all of your output channels. And on the desks, we don't have to kind of assign or share processing power for these really nice plugins. They're available for all inputs and outputs. Okay, so one of the really awesome features of StudioLive SE consoles is the recording integration. So there's different ways to record on the desk via multitrack SD card, which means you can multitrack your gig or your studio session without a computer. But then you've also the option to use the USB interface. So let's say, for example, you are at a gig and you want to quickly, set up your gig, get all your levels ready for the show. But in the background, you want a simple way to multitrack record the show. The desk comes free with Capture software, and Capture software allows you to multitrack the gig without any plugins or complications. It's just a really cool, stable recording software. You plug in your USB cable, hit record, and you're recording. In Capture, there's lots of fail-safes, such as a lock on your keys, so you can't turn off your recording by accident. There's also cache recording, which means that it will record up to 1 minute before you actually hit record. So if you forget at the start of the show to hit record and you're like 30 seconds late, the cache in the Capture software will have that pre-recorded for you when you finish the session. Lots of big metering and stuff like that in Capture as well. So you just open the software, hit record, and you're done. You can forget about the recording happening in the background. Within Capture software, also you have sound check mode. So with sound check mode, there's a small microphone on the top right-hand side of the app. When you hit this mic, you get a drop-down list of your previous gigs that you've done. Select your gig, and it will simply pop up on your desk, returning all of your inputs on the USB channels to play back, let's say, the show from last night. So your drummer's running late, your bass player's running late. The rest of the band can actually sound check with last night's performance of drums and bass, for example. So one of the really, really awesome parts of recording integration with the SE console is the use of Studio One software. Now, you can use other third-party DAWs to record into using the SE console, but if you use Studio One, you will be able to take that capture session that you recorded. So you've got your basic tracks recorded from the gig. That capture file, if you right-click and open with Studio One, will actually open the entire gig in your DAW with all of your channels labeled, all of your pans set and all your levels done, but also plug-in versions of the plugins that you used from the desk live. So if you had some vintage compressors or EQs that you were running on the vocals, for example, in the live session, when you open that session in Studio One, we've got plug-in version of the same processors. So it means that you can quickly mix, make some tweaks, and maybe give the show to the audience before they leave. So really, really cool integration of recording with Studio One, Capture, and the StudioLive SE consoles. So the StudioLive SE console mixer is very intuitive and very simple workflow. You'll see on the desk here, you've got a main mix button, which will bring your faders to control your front of house, for example, very easy, and your master faders just here. But on the side here, you'll see you've got these yellow buttons, and these are all of your output mixes. So these could be used, for example, mix 1 can go to monitor 1, which could be for vocal or whatever you want to assign. But you can link these mixes together so they become your left and right for your in-ear mixes. With these flex, we call them flex mix outputs, you can change them though from being an auxiliary to becoming a subgroup or a matrix mix output. So you can do this quite simply and they will change color, but you can configure this whole output section to do different jobs, such as in-ears, monitor mixing, subgroup mixes, or matrix mix outputs. So the desk can be used quite simply, everything straightforward, mapped one-to-one, or you can start to configure it for different use cases, such as live studio, broadcast, all easily from the desk. There's also the 4 effects master sections on the bottom. So again, you can select any one of these 4 sections and you can put any type of effect that we have built into the desk onto this master section. So for example, you've got your reverb, you've got your stereo delay, you've got a chorus and a flanger assigned to these effects. So when you select the effect, then you just bring up the level sending to that effect unit. Also configuring the inputs on the desk is super easy. We have the ability to take an input for each channel from 4 different sources. So let's say channel 1, we want to use the local mic input, the analog input in the back. Let's say channel 2, we want to bring in a track from our computer. So we simply select channel 2 and select a USB input. Let's say on channel 3, we want to listen to an input from a stage box. We just select channel 3, select network, and now we're listening back to the network for audio. And then let's say channel 4, we want to listen to a track from our multitrack SD card. Select the channel, select SD card. So what this shows is you can easily configure the inputs from your desk to come from lots of different, 4 different sources. Let's say, for example, you've got your live concert, you've got channels 1 to 16 for your live stage mics, and then channel 17 on you could use for maybe USB input from strings or brass that you recorded on your album. You can be bringing these in now in separate channels, and they can be processed in the same way that you processed your live inputs to the analog or network section of the desk. So it simplifies all of these sources really easy onto the desk for separate processing. And for backing tracks, for example, you don't have to bring in a stereo left-right that you've no control over afterwards. Now you can have full individual control of your tracks at the same time as your analog inputs for your live gig. So another cool feature of the SE console mixer is DAW mode. So this green button here allows you to switch the functionality of the desk to become your software controller. So obviously tightly integrated with Studio One as a DAW controller, but will work with other third-party DAWs as well. So obviously using this in the studio is going to be really cool. You can use the desk as your audio interface, your live mixing to your monitors or your headphone mixes that are in, let's say, vocal booths or drum booths. But then you switch quickly to DAW mode and now you're fully controlling your software with your plugins, your automation, all from this one mixer. So it really is your studio hub. Okay, so we have various ways as well to secure the mixer to be used by different users. So we can save lots of different types of scenes on the desks and permissions. So you've got different permissions for users to be able to lock the desk down to have basic functionality or full functionality depending on the different user. So we have full remote control of the desk as well via UC Surface. So this runs on tablet such as iPad or Android. You can also control from Mac or Windows, but this will give you full control of your mixer, including capture recording. So that's really, really cool. But it's important that we lock down different mix features for different users using control surfaces. So let's say your drummer wants to mix his in-ears with his iPad. We can simply select the iPad from a drop-down list and we can isolate his mix just to his device. We also have QMix UC, which is an app for the phone. And this really simplifies the mixing for, let's say, the artist who doesn't want to get into the tech part of things and just wants to simply control their levels. So QMix UC gives basic level control for all of their inputs, but also we've got what we call the wheel of me. So you turn your phone vertically and you've got one simple wheel which will control the level of your channels directly to your ears. If you turn this up to the max, it's still not enough volume, it will start to turn down the rest of the band. So QMix UC really simplifies the whole mix process for in-ears or monitors for the artist on stage or in studio. Okay, so within Universal Control, we have an awesome feature as well called Metro. So Metro allows you to connect from anywhere in the world over the internet to the desk. So this will allow you to connect for full control of the desk, but also allows you to route audio to the desk and audio from the desk. So if you think about this, you could be sitting in a different country and you're able to log into a user's desk and fully control the mix, fully control all of the monitor mixes or in-ear mixes for the musicians. You also can listen into those mixes, so you can select between listening to front of house or vocalist's monitor, and you can also talk to the desk. So now you're able to use the talkback section over the internet to talk to, let's say, the local engineer or any of the musicians on stage or in the studio. So some of the really cool use cases of this could be, you know, you're going to live stream your band, you plug everything in, and you get a really good mixer to log in over the internet and mix your live stream in real time. Or problem solving for mixers in venues. You know, sometimes you've got an engineer who needs to get cover for the gig, but the person doesn't really know the desk, so they can be at the gig and you can log in and kind of set up some basic settings or unmute that hidden mute button that we can't find. Yep, so Metro comes with the desk completely free as a really powerful tool for being able to log into the desk remotely and control or remotely mix sessions. So thanks for joining us today with the guys at Gear for Music to check out the StudioLive SE console mixers.